we have Detroit 2 by Big Sean. It is 21 songs, an hour and 11 minutes long. It came out on the 4th of September. So we had some other albums and stuff that we were reviewing first. So now we get to go over ahead to this. Um, I have a lot of positives out of this album, actually. I think there's a lot of good. My only downturn is he pulled the Matty Healy of just like put a lot of fucking songs into here, and some of it weren't cohesive to other ones, and some kind of filler random shit in here, so it made it ridiculously long. I remember I was listening to it on the bike this morning, like finishing up. I'm like, this, it's still going. Okay, we're still. I looked at my phone, still going.
I will say not to skip across the whole thing, but the next to like the third, well, next to last song, Friday Night Cypher, is a 10-minute long cipher. So,
yeah, and it just like has so many features. Like, how many features does that song have?
Yeah, but like that's a cipher. That's how it goes. It's like a bunch of rap artists getting together to do like a 10-minute song. That's just how it goes. So like, if you take out that little almost like bonus thing, it's an hour long of an album.
20 minutes.
Still on the longer side, and I still think a lot of what you're saying with the filler is definitely there.
Yeah, because you have like some random stuff like Story by Dave Chappelle. You have
Erykah Badu and Stevie Wonder. They'd have these little interludes where they're kind of talking about Detroit. Detroit 2 is a reference to Detroit 1, which is a Big Sean mixtape from the earlier 10s. And all these are kind of like love, you know, like all rappers do to a certain point, like a love letter to the area they came up in this case being Detroit. So of course you have appearances from Eminem and others like throughout here in this. But getting into the beginning of the album, which you said, yeah, we haven't seen a lot of great things, like full-out rap projects come out this year, really.
Pretty good.
So, this is good.
Why would I stop? It starts off, and that's like a good trap song. Like, that's a solid trap song. I really like the beginning of it, and because it's like a slow little into like beginning phase, then it gets into trap, and it's nothing super cliche or anything, but it's a solid trap song. It's short, it gets to the point, gets you hyped up and everything for it, and you feel good. And I'm like, okay, I can get on board with this.
It's fine. It's passable to me. Exactly. Like, it's not super offensive, but like it's definitely not any sort of like glitzy, I'm gonna get attention drawn to it kind of thing.
No, and then right after that's Lucky Me, which then is more of your hip hop style. It's like that's the one nice thing I like about this album is it mixes hip hop, rap, and trap. Where it's not like Future's album earlier, where it's just like every single song has the same fucking beat 45 times. There are a couple of stuff with Young Thug and Travis Scott, which I still think Travis Scott's the most overrated rapper in the game right now because it's bad. But anyways, I'll get to that in a little bit. I like Lucky Me a lot because it's talking about how lucky he is to be in a position he is, all the stuff that he's had, like different things within his life. I really enjoy that song a lot. And then you have Deep Reverence with Nipsey Hussle, and it's a little bit of an homage to the late Nipsey Hussle. There's an interesting part in there where he said he tried to get Kendrick on the song, and he said that Kendrick didn't want to or something like that.
Oh, no. So it's more like Kendrick and Big Sean have had this like supposed beef or whatever.
Yeah.
And a lot about what Nipsey Hussle and the Deep Reverence song is about is just like some of the beef shit that you have in life. It's just like life's too short to have that kind of thing. Nipsey Hussle's untimely demise being part of that. But the interlude, the song is that like, yeah, I ended up calling up Kendrick because supposedly we had beef, but turns out it was nothing. We were just like talking past each other, and so we're cool. So
that's good.
There's nothing about that there. They weren't on any songs or anything like that. But yeah, a lot of times, especially in the music industry, beef is created in the media space when there doesn't need to be. And then there are a lot of artists that we talk about, like 6ix9ine, who love that on purpose and use it to boost their careers, and then that bubble pops and it gets kind of funny.
And then you gotta sell
Deep
your albums
Reverence
on the
is very
streets.
funny. Yes.
Wolves with Post Malone is decent, I think. I actually like Post Malone's feature in this a lot, which normally Post Malone's either good or really shitty to me in a lot of his features. But this one's awesome. I like where it starts with Big Sean. Trap beat's decent into it, and then it gets into Post Malone's part, and I think they complement each other very well. Body Language with Ty Dolla $ign and Jhené Aiko, I think is also really good. I think there's a couple of features of Ty Dolla $ign I've heard this year that have actually been decent too. So it's good. And then you have the Story by Dave Chappelle, which is, you know, the little 2-minute filler thing of him talking about Detroit and other stuff. I'm like, okay, that's all right.
And that's at least it helps like break up the album a little bit. I find it to be more useful.
I think it's more
later
useful
in the album.
Later.
Yeah.
You didn't need it to be there per se if you wanted there.
Yeah, but I guess it's got to go somewhere if you have like 3 of these. So,
yeah, exactly. There's a couple other good songs like Guard Your Heart with Anderson .Paak. Early Mac and Whale is a pretty solid song.
With as far as the sound goes, like, because I started realizing this especially around Harder Than My Demons, but like what Big Sean is doing here that is like kind of good is that he is kind of doing a little bit of an homage to a lot of the more popular beats and styles in trap music. Like Harder Than My Demons has Mike Will Made It on it, and it sounds a lot like a really poppy Drake song. Actually, in it, even in the way that Big Sean sort of like does the intonation and the rapping, he's not like any sort of artist to copy a flow particularly, but it's very similar. But it's just that one song as opposed to Drake just continually doing it all the time.
Exactly.
Because I forget what song that was, but it was another one of like Drake's super viral songs. There's like some dance to it, but it sounds very similar to that.
Tootsie Slide.
Yeah, yes. It's a very similar sort of like fast drum beat to that. But there are interesting things that happen with the drums as you move in later to the album. There's an uncredited Travis Scott,
ZTFO,
I guess,
right?
In Zen the Fuck Out, ZTFO in the middle, which is like
because I heard it and it was just like, yeah, I'm like, he's back. Yeah, there it is.
Surprise Travis is the worst Travis Scott. You don't necessarily want that.
It is. That's what I was gonna say. Because ZTFO, because before that's Everything That's Missing with Dwelly, and I'm like, okay, that's an okay song, and then you just get Surprise Scott, and I'm like, God damn it. I'm like, okay, here we go, and it's just. Sounds like 2018. It's nothing changed, nothing special about it. Eat some McDonald's with it if you want, but it's, yeah.
Guard Your Heart with Anderson .Paak, your kind of typical, almost like Corday style, sort of jazzy, sort of R&B interlude over with modern rap and poetry kind of sounding. It's really nice.
And it's nice. Respect It with Hit Boy and Young Thug is actually pretty good. I like Young Thug's part in there. Again, I really like him as a feature, not as a solo artist. Something with like Kid Cudi.
Playing with the out of sync, out of tune style in trap music that we've seen over the past 2 years. Lithuania with Travis Scott, here's the part where I think is really interesting because it begins with a very traditional, like actual drum set in the music itself before continuing to more of a trap style kind of thing. And I think that's really kind of interesting for this project production wise. I like when a lot of trap songs lend to the drums and lend them to older alternative sounding things that way because I think there's a lot of natural blend between the two. I think we've even talked about artists who, like Aminé, who are able to blend trap and alternative, especially in the drums, very well. And this is a really good example of that, at least in the beginning. So good unto whoever produced Lithuania on that. But I think the best quality of this album overall is that it doesn't overstep itself in what it's doing.
No.
It stays modern, and a lot of what's going on in rap and trap right now in modern is kind of annoying. But even all these features that are on here, they never complement or overpower the song. It's always making the song better. It's making the project better. Big Sean's good on his own. He's very lyrically skilled.
Like some of his songs, like The Baddest, that was just him. Fantastic song. I really like it. Pumps you up, gets you going. Solid trap beat into it. Nothing offensive. It's good. Like that's a good, clean, wholesome trap, as we like to say on Audioface. Even Dawn Life with Lil Wayne, I thought was pretty good.
I really like that.
Because Lil Wayne's like, the Carter 5 was interesting. There is some really good songs in there, some other ones I didn't like, and some of his features have been hit or miss
I think a lot of Lil Wayne is like, he can do a lot of really good hit songs, but it's just like very inconsistent. A lot of his albums are filler.
Exactly, but that was a really good feature. They got Friday Night Cypher, which is just, 10-minute long. Yeah. And there's just a lot going on in that song.
I mean, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty cool. You got a lot of good spin on there. Eminem just kind of just like kills it at the end. But yeah, it's really awesome. I think it's just meant to be a showcase for Midwest Detroit-ish.
It's a really very good album. I was pleasantly surprised. I heard a couple of the songs like Why Would I Stop and The Baddest at Work already because we play those at the gym. And I'm like, I looked at it, I go, oh, I didn't realize Big Sean released an album. Like, these are actually pretty good. Yeah. Considering. And then when we listen to the album, I go, oh, this actually top to bottom, it's a solid album. It's very good.
I think it's the most like, as far as new albums that have come out that play with the new school of rap and the old school of rap, it's the best execution of that to come out this year. Pretty evenly. I can't think of anything else that has had this balance.
It doesn't have that balance.
It's either too old head or way too much like, like a Gunna copy.
Yeah. It's a very good album.
And it's thoughtfully produced, so we're gonna absolutely love that. The arbitrary scale this week is has to do with Lindsey Graham's spine. Lindsey Graham, of course, a senator who, in 2016, when there was a Supreme Court justice seat opening,
when Scalia passed away,
yes, promised that said, "Look, listen, it's an election year, so we would never elect a new Supreme Court justice in an election year or try to nominate one. So we're not going to do that. In fact, you know what? Hold me to these words. In 4 years, if there is a Republican president and a Supreme Court justice, God forbid, dies, and it is an opportunity for me to nominate a new one, I promise you, I will not nominate a new one.
Play the fucking tape.
The floor is yours, Lindsey Graham. So we're going to be looking at the different parts of the spine, which parts are most likely to crack when Donald Trump so much as breathes over in his direction. But of course, different parts of the spine, whichever are the most like weaker parts or the weaker things. So the stronger parts of the spine is better.
This is a solid like lumbar spine. Like
this is the lumbar spine. It's the lower part.
So it's like this is what. All right. So it's a solid lumbar because you either have a really nice car or a really shitty car. Like you're gonna have either like my car where you have like 4 different adjustments of your lumbar support and you're like good, or you're in that Honda, like a 1991 Honda that has has like one thing of the lumbar support that like either breaks your back or you get your back sucked in.
I think you're talking about like early 90s Ford bucket seats that were in the pickup
trucks.
Oh,
there we go. Yeah, the middle seat that like doesn't have a seatbelt and you just get yeeted out of the windshield.
Yeah, the middle seat that actually you could just like knock on it and there's just a problem. Yeah.
The solid lumbar though.
I'm going to give this the vertebral body because this is connected to the brain. There's a lot of heady thoughts, heady emotions. It's a really good thing in here. I think there was a little bit of filler in this album. Like, I didn't need Zen the fuck out. I didn't need
for sure
some of the things that some of the songs in here that Big Sean is only on, and maybe 1 or 2 of the features aren't needed on here. In fact, I'd say the songs that Big Sean is on single here are mostly the filler ones.
Right.
It's not that he's a bad rapper. In fact, he's a great rapper. So it's the kind of stealth filler, if it makes sense. But overall, definitely that could be missing. If this was a 45-minute long album, I'd say 55 minutes, even with the cypher, it would be just that much better.
For sure.